Thank you. Thank you for a kind introduction. And I would like to express my gratitude to Professor Igorview and Professor Sana for inviting me for this wonderful conference. And I also like to thank Professor Pirovich for connecting me to this amazing conference. And well, I'm quite new to this area, and oh, should I speak up? Okay. Yeah. I'm quite new to this area of study, and well, spending 2 days of full of amazing presentations and amazing quality. I don't know. I'm still having difficulty digesting all the contents for the last 2 days, but I'm trying my best. And my original idea was about to introduce the recent development about the mass both in practice and law in Japan and Korea. And I also got a message from Professor Igorview that it has to be some related to AI. And I was trying to connect it to the AI, and I got some ideas. Maybe also I had some question for a long time when I was studying about other areas about the technology. So I was trying to connect it, and I hope that's also helpful for all of us to think about together. Well, this is a kind of main question that I had. I will just do the homework first, okay? To talk about the AI first. This is a question I had. Like, why is the law trying to be ahead of the technological application or acceptance, and isn't the former supposed to follow the latter? I mean, I wrote a few articles with the Professor Pirovich about the electronic bills of lading, and we sometimes mention this. Also, when I teach my students, like practice and technology is way there, and law is trying to follow and catch up. I think it's convenient to introduce or explain about how a conservative law is, the conservative character of law, and also when technology is safe enough, trustworthy enough, and it's accepted by practice, then I think we are ready to make a law. So that's how I explain. But when I see the development of mass, and when I see the development of a mass code trying to cover the level 4, the mass, the autonomous vessel without any the human involved, I feel like it's law is trying to be way ahead of the technological application or acceptance. The thing is, application and distribution of mass degree 4 is not here. I've talked with some experts, especially coming from engineering or who are developing the software, and most of them were talking about the fact that their kind of a prospect, how they see the prospect of the mass degree 4, that it's going to take 10-20 years at least. And I also found this report published by International Association of Lighthouse Authority, which became the intergovernmental organization this year, And the report was saying that the realization of autonomous large ships capable of independent decision-making is expected to be at least 20 years away from widespread implementation. So this it shows a kind of like what's going to happen in the next 20 years with the crewed ships with automated functions. I think that this is going to be a kind of dominating trend for the next 20 years, while crewless autonomous ships, so there may be few in the next 10 years, maybe some in the next 20 years. When I also see the example of autonomous vehicle industry, I mean, commercialization of level 3 or above has been taking so much time. I think they already have the technology, but when it comes to commercialization, it's been taking time. I think now we see the vehicles with human being, with their eyes off, with their hands off. That's possible technologically, but when it comes to commercialization, we still have some time. We had to still wait for some time. So even mass degree 3, it has to pass a lot of technological issues as we discussed for the last 2 days, like technological confidence, economic feasibility, codification, insurance, product liability, stakeholders acceptance, etc. So AI may be here, AI itself may be here, and AI has been applied to many areas. But I mean, when it comes to this mass code, it's human involved in the end. Because I think that this question has been raised for a number of times, I think. Does human really understand or really trust AI properly or sufficiently? And I think we're talking about interface between human and the AI, and whatever the AI does, it has to be translated into I don't know, it's a language or whatever, in a way that a human being can understand. And I also think about we're concerned about the interface between AIs. I don't really know because I'm not really expert on AI, but when I look at the other technologies and when it comes to new technology applied to new areas, the end of the road is always about the issue of interoperability, whether the technologies are interoperable and compatible to work together. And I think it may apply to AIs too. So this is an image I obtained from the Abacus. It's a software company under the subsidiary company under Hyundai, the heavy industry. And he was showing the representative of this company was showing this image where this company is actually going through kind of getting approval of approval of the classification society when it comes to this classification society is giving a lot of questions, and what this company has to do is expected to solve a lot of questions. And including this kind of a situation scenario where like more than 10 ships are coming together, and this one particular ship is how it's going to avoid a collision. And this of course, this is basically based on collect rules, but just based on the collect rules, it's not able to solve this situation. So they use a kind of an AI algorithm to be able to solve this situation, and it manages it. But the problem is, I don't think that this assumes the scenario where all the 10 other ships are coming towards are based on AI too. And because it's just automatically coming close. So assuming they are all AI based, assuming they are all, being capable of making a judgment at any moment in the process coming close to the one ship, then I'm not sure if they can, communicate each other between the AI system, or, based on that, they can make a judgment. And in the process of coming close, one AI-based ship making a different judgment may affect, the behavior of a different ship, and we don't really know what's going to happen. So coming to this kind of moving to the conclusion of this question, the way I think is, and also based on the discussion we had for the last 2 days, is there seems to be no good reason to completely remove the human from a ship, to my understanding. And some people are saying that, well, AI is incomplete as human master and crew. So if that's the case, then why not leaving human on board while letting AI assist human? Mass code discussion, if you look at the latest discussion, I think it was last year, of course, but there must be a human master, it says, right? And whether on board or not, regardless of autonomy level, including level 4, right? Who has means to intervene. So I think we also had discussion about this, right? This leads us to think about like need to redesign the category, the mass force degree 4 itself, or redefine the mass degree 4. Coming to this mass development in Japan, the background is, I think, this demonstration performance. The sea trial of the mass has started since 2018. And when they decided to work more on this development of a mass, was actually coming from some circumstances, consideration of unique circumstances in Japan, Of course, every country thinks about the safety. I mean, by using more autonomous chips. But when it comes to Japan, it consists of a lot of islands. Especially, there is an area in the center of Japan where which connects north, south, and east, west. There is a lot of islands in the middle, and there it's a very congested area. So I think what their intention is to improve the traffic condition at the national level first. So that was the first consideration. Second consideration is the decreasing working age population with the requirements of aging seafarers. According to one statistics, it says that more than 40% crew of coastal shipping, in Japan, are 50 years old or above. And I also read that report in where the statistics was introduced, that in Japan, most seafarers are retiring before or after 55 years old. So I think they're almost half of the sea crew members are reaching the retirement age. So this was another important consideration for Japan to introduce more this autonomous ships. Including global attention, it was also one consideration because Japan is always paying keen attention to Europe or United States, what they do and what their development is. This is also a characteristic of Japan that is maybe compared to Korea that I'm going to introduce, is that most of these mass projects were led by shipping companies. I think it's more natural to think that maybe it should be developed by or led by shipbuilding companies, which was the case in Korea. But in the case of a shipping company, in the case of Japan, shipping companies led these projects. I think one of the reasons is because, unlike Korea, these shipbuildings were, they have a long tradition. Mostly started with the very small and medium-sized companies, and they continue their business for a long time. So they don't really have the good capital or market power to engage in the development of a mass. On the other hand, which I will explain later, is in the case of Korea, it's led by shipbuilding companies, which happen to be owned by conglomerates of Korea. So that makes this sense why these shipbuilding industries are taking the lead in the case of Korea. So this Meguri 2040 project is the main kind of national project, industry academic consortium led by the the Japan Foundation. By the way, this Meguri means like it turns around, to imply that through this kind of project, we want to circulate the people, the transportation, the goods, smoothly. That's the kind of the intention or hope with this project, which was launched in 2020 with the aim to reach a practical implementation of fully autonomous ships technology by 2025, which I think is a quite how can I say, bold, the aim. And it also aims to replace 50% of domestic maritime cargo transportation with mass by 2040. So this project is partially focusing on replacing the traditional ships first in the country first. I think that's the kind of attitude. And it also focuses on developing core technologies like ship navigation, remote maneuvering, automatic docking and unlocking. And this is a kind of recent development in Japan. Well, the three here, I just skip. This is just the objectives of the Meguri 2040 project. I just introduced two recent, demonstration or sea trial cases. One happened in 2019, which was operated, which was the NYK shipping line, and it was the. I think the title is kind of misleading because as I look into it, it was actually the level 2. They used the traditional ship, but they just put a kind of a system there to be so that a number of crew members can work at the coastline, and still part of the crew members are still working and doing just the normal duty on ship. So I guess this was this phase two. What is the degree two of the mass? And I think this was the very first looking at the year, the time of the sea trial. This was conducted right after the IMO this trial sea trial guideline was issued. I think that was 2019 June, and this sea trial was conducted in September in the same year. Another development, what happened in 2022. The ship's name was Mikage. Well, there were actually two ships, one ship with a different name, and it was unlike the first case which crossed from China to Japan, but this one was the national one that went through the congested traffic area. And well, I think the first one did not make a headline because I think it reached the 97% of autonomy. So there was no crew on the ship, but it successfully conducted this autonomous shipping. But in the case of the second one, which was Mikage and this ship, it was actually recorded as the world's first autonomous sea trial of commercial box ship completed. And there was no one. I think I heard from the Yara Berkland that there was one or a few the crew members on board, just in case the emergency happens. But in the case of this ship, as far as I researched it, there was nobody on the ship. And what makes kind of interesting was that, well, then compared to the first one, it made 100% autonomy. And I think one of the news article described the details, like when they moored into the dock, of the destination. It relied on the flying drone, which picked up the rope and to drop the rope onto the dock and the dock workers were waiting for the rope and to secure the ship. So that's how it made 100% autonomy with the assistance of the flying drone. So this is mass law and policy in Japan. Well, Japanese policy or this development hasn't reached the development of law, but this they issued a roadmap in late 2010, which consists of 3 phases. And phase 1 is the same as the degree 1, and they focused on doing this, developing the mass phase 2 mass until 2025. And they focus on demonstrating those ships and also take measures in response, including making a guideline like IMO sea trial guideline. So, and this for the phase 3 and above, it's kind of a long-term plan that they have to review for a number of issues. So it's just the key idea is that following this roadmap plan, they developed this safety guideline related to automated vessels in 2020, which only focused on the phase 2 automated vessels. I think that this makes a little difference compared to other safety guideline for sea trials, because it only deals with the phase 2, not above. And that's part of the reason. And that's why they focused on design, installation, and operation. And I don't really. It's like 20 pages the guideline. I cannot really explain each and every clause, but this is a kind of shows the overview of what this guideline is about. It's basically about the safety consideration that should be taken into account during the design phase of automated vessels. Like you can just read like to ensure like, operating environment to perform the avoidance. Thank you. Takeoff landing functions, and to perform remote control functions, all these things. But just to mention a few things, like in particular, that because this is focusing on phase 2, and what's most important is the interface between the human and the machine. That's why they pay particular attention to this human-machine interface setting. So the whatever the automated system it does, and whatever the judgment it makes, it has to be communicated to the seafarers in a way that they can recognize and understand. That's a kind of one emphasis that this guideline makes. Another interesting point was that, and is this also related to phase 2, because it has to work. I mean, for the phase 2 to be successful, human and the automated system should work together. So in case things go wrong or didn't work as planned, then it provides a clause where the automated system, the failure of automated system, since the point when the failure happened, the crew member has to take over. And if the crew member is not able to take over that mission, then it also has to go to the remote control system so that it can continuously and smoothly operate the system. Mass development in Korea, very short, like similar to MEGRI to South 2040, CAS project was developed, and this was also a government consortium project. I mentioned this, the mass projects were led by this major shipping building players in the case of Korea. And this is also for between 22, 25, and is focusing on commercialization and the development of core technologies like this. And the target is mass engaged on international voyages, especially mid-sized merchant ships. And for ocean and international water, IMO level 3, for coast, IMO levels 2. And I also introduced two very recent case. One happened in 2022. I think this was level 2, degree 2 mass, which for the very first time it crossed the Pacific Ocean. It was an LNG the ship that crossed the Pacific Ocean with the automated system installed on the ship. And the other case is actually, it's currently crossing, it's actually operating currently. I just try to get the navigation information. It departed on September 14th, and it's reaching September 20th. This is the level 3 mass, and that was developed for the very first time at this size. And it was the very first demonstration that the government and this project is conducting. So this mass law policy background, well, just to getting to the point, Korea developed a new law. I think that this is the world's first independent legislation focusing on a mass development, which is called the Act on the Promotion of the Development and Commercialization of Maritime Autonomous Surface Ships. And it aims to establish a legal foundation for mass operation, facilitate development of the technology and commercialization of the mass through supportive measures, including government, supports. And particular, I just draw your attention. I want to draw your attention to this particular two key provisions, which is related to exemption of the ships operate for demonstration from regulation. So it provides regulatory exemptions for the mass that are operated for demonstration. Another important provision is about the mandatory liability insurance. So it requires the operator of the mass to have insurance. And I think these are the articles which are divided into 5 chapters. And these are the key provisions I wanted to introduce, but I just want to pick up 3 things, which I also mentioned, but Article 19, it says that the minister may conduct the safety evaluation mass and their equipment for pilot operation. So if the safety evaluation, if the mass failed to do it, or Article 20 also says that requires a minister's approval. And if it fails to get approval, and you decide to put the mass ship on the ocean, then you may be subject to the imprisonment of up to 2 years and $5,000 more or less of the fine. So that's a kind of a unique kind of characteristic of kind of administrative measures introduced by this Korean law. So this is just the expected outcome. So this regulatory exemption is going to facilitate and support for smooth demonstration operation of mass. And conclusion, I just want to say that we talked about, this degree 4 mass in the very beginning, and my question, remains same. Is it necessary to consider making or amending international legal regimes for mass degree 4 at this stage, considering the technological progress or acceptance in practice? And I think this role of a voluntary mass code, which will be, established next year, I think this is going to be very important, because we will have probably 7 years until it's going to be mandatory, right? 5 to 7 years. And I think it gives, for that time duration, I think it will give some time for national policymakers and legislature to think about how to make their law. It's kind of going to be a very important reference for a rulemaking process at national level, like, IMO guideline did for other, countries, as I showed these examples in the case of Korea and Japan today. And also, during that time, and they, national legislature are going to make rules like Korea, did, for example, and IMO may be able to reflect a good practice and rules, based on what the national legislators or legal regimes did. And that will be very helpful for IMO to develop mass code at the next level. So I think that this 5-7 years is going to be very important. I think it's important to take the time, but on a opposite situation, if the IMO is trying to push and develop and establish the mandatory code, including the mass degree 4, on a early stage, earlier, then I think that there might be some kind of resistance, or maybe governments ignore, because considering their situation, we haven't really reached this mass degree 4, or we don't really have interest in developing mass 4. We don't think it's feasible for various reasons. I think establishing mass degree 4 based mandatory rule at an earlier stage is not going to be favorable for rulemaking conditions in other countries. So that's a kind of a conclusion I would like to make. Thank you.